Hi, I'm Roy Vincent, and this is the story of Walter Clement Noel. You may have heard of Walter Noel as the first person in the world diagnosed with sickle cell anemia, a chronic, painful, inherited blood disease that affects millions of people worldwide, but most prevalent in blacks and people of Middle Eastern descent. What you probably don't know is how the discovery came about and Walter's role in it. What was his medical condition? What were some of the physical, social, and psychological challenges he faced that positioned him to be the person whose diagnosis kick-started the research and treatments that would provide relief and extended longevity for millions? Walter was born in Grenada on June 21st, 1884. He lived with his mother and siblings on Duquesne Estate in the parish of St. Mark. They were a relatively wealthy family. His father, John, was a landowner from the parish of St. Andrew. He died of renal failure at the age of 37 when Walter was 2. His mother, Mary Justina, inherited the estate from her father. His sister, Jane, died at the age of 24 from pulmonary disease. On completing his secondary education at Harrison College in Barbados, Walter was accepted at the Chicago College of Dentistry. He was 20 years old. Walter arrived at Ellis Island in New York City on September 5th, 1904, with $70 in his pocket, equivalent to about $2,723 today. During the weeks-long voyage, he suffered with leg ulcers, a common affliction for people with sickle cell anemia. He was treated with topical iodine. From New York City, he traveled to Chicago by train to begin his dentistry studies. Walter began dentistry school on October 5th, 1904. His residence was 2 blocks from the school. He was without doubt probably the only person of African descent in his class. He must have been lonely, cold, homesick, shunned, discriminated against, and physically ill. In November, he developed respiratory problems, another common affliction for people with sickle cell anemia. On December 26, 1904, he was admitted to Presbyterian Hospital, 1 block from his residence. There he was treated by Dr. Ernest Irons. The hospital performed a routine physical exam that included blood and urine tests. Dr. Irons' report indicated observing abnormal, elongated, red blood cells. He even sketched the shape of the cells in his report. His report also indicated Walter's appearance as pale. Dr. Irons discussed the case with his supervising physician, Dr. James Herrick. Despite their research and analysis, they could not explain the strange abnormalities they were seeing in Walter's red blood cells. Walter was discharged on January 22, 1905. He was hospitalized for 27 days and as a result was absent from school for several weeks. Dr. Irons continued to follow up with Walter for over 2 years, including visiting him at his home. He described Walter as an intelligent Negro. In January 1906, Walter was hospitalized at the Francis Willard Hospital. The diagnosis was bronchitis. He recovered quickly. 1 month later, on March 7th, he was laid up in bed with fever and bronchitis. He also reported feeling weak. 2 months later, Walter was again laid up in bed. Dr. Irons visited him at home and found he had a temperature of 100 degrees and fluid in his knee joint. Walter recovered after 10 days of bed rest, but of course, he missed several days of school. 7 months later, on December 26, 1906, Walter was again hospitalized for 2 months with what was diagnosed as muscular rheumatism. Here again, he was forced to miss several weeks of school. Dr. Irons last saw Walter in April 1907. Walter reported at the time that he was feeling much better except for some lingering shortness of breath. Between December 1904 and December 1906, Walter was hospitalized at least 3 times and confined to bed at least twice. Despite his frequent illnesses, Walter graduated with his freshman class from dental school on May 28, 1907. He returned to Grenada that year and opened his dental office downstairs of his residence in the parish of St. George. His mother owned the building. He had his own dental equipment, and 8 years later, in 1915, he hired an assistant. There are no known images of Walter except for the description by a 16-year-old patient who described him as smartly dressed, healthy looking, and plump with dark coffee-colored skin, a round fat face, and a good body. On May 3, 1916, Walter went to the horse races in the parish of St. Andrew. He returned home and took a shower. Later that evening, he experienced chills, followed by respiratory problems that worsened. He later died in his home. He was only 32 years old. The doctor certified his death as asthenia from pneumonia. Walter is buried in a family plot in the parish of St. Patrick. His father died at age 37 from renal failure. His sister died at age 24 from pulmonary disease. The fact that both father and sister died at an early age and from diseases that are closely linked to complications from sickle cell disease leads one to surmise that they too may have been victims of the hereditary disease sickle cell anemia. Walter died not knowing the true cause of his illnesses. In 1910, Dr. Herrick published a paper based on observations and lab work that he and Dr. Irons had conducted on Walter. They were still mystified by their findings. Some of the information in the report included a yellow tinge of the eyes, several scars from previous ulcers, abnormal sounds in the lungs, unusual blood findings that they never had seen before. He reported Walter's red blood count as 2.6 million. A normal count is between 4.5 and 6 million microliters. His white blood count was 40,000. A normal count is between 4,000 to 10,000. Most curious for them, however, was the elongated sickle-like shape of the red blood cells. After publication of his report in 1910, others began reporting similar abnormalities in patients. In 1922, 16 years after Walter's death, Dr. Vern Mason was the first person to name the disease sickle cell anemia. In 1949, the chemist Linus Pauling referred to sickle cell anemia as a molecular disease. Walter was not a hero in the sense that he jumped into burning buildings to save little old ladies. But he was a hero because of his courage, ambition, intelligence, and perseverance. It took the form of nobility of purpose. These qualities are what made it possible for him to be the first person to be diagnosed with sickle cell anemia. And because of him, we now have research and treatments that have improved the quality of life and extended the life expectancy for millions of people around the world. Walter was posthumously knighted on March 10, 2026 by the government of Grenada. His official title is now Sir Walter Clement Noel.